Good afternoon, members. It's Tuesday, June 17th. It's now 2 p.m. I have a procedural announcement to make. Then we'll call the roll. I have a few opening remarks. We'll then take testimony. We'll have a discussion and then vote. Although remote oral testimony is being permitted, this is a regular meeting and not a remote meeting by interactive conference technology under HRS Section 92-3.7. Therefore, the meeting will continue notwithstanding the loss of audiovisual communication with remote testifiers or loss of the public broadcast of the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda, either in person, in the council chamber, or remotely. As both English and Hawaiian are official languages of the state of Hawaii pursuant to Article 15, Section 4 of the Hawaii State Constitution and Section 1-13 of the Hawaii Revised Statutes, members of the public will be allowed to testify in either language. For oral testimonies offered in Olelo, Hawaii, additional time as may be necessary will be allowed for either the testifier to provide an English translation of their testimony. Before testifying, each person shall state their full name and the agenda item they are testifying on. Each speaker may not have anyone else read their statement and is limited to a 3-minute presentation. Registered in-person testifiers will be called first. When your name is called, please proceed to the podium and begin by stating your name and the items you'll be speaking on. When I call for anyone who is not registered to speak in person, please line up to the right of the podium. And when it is your turn, proceed to the podium. Begin by stating your name and the item you'll be speaking on. All persons who have registered to testify remotely by video conference or phone will then be called. When your name is called, please monitor your screen and activate your audio feed when prompted. When I call for anyone else standing by remotely, please utilize the Zoom raise hand button to indicate your desire to speak. For those of us joining by telephone only, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. The following are some friendly reminders and tips. Video conference from a quiet location if possible. If you are also watching the proceeding on Olelo, please mute your television when you are called to testify. When the timer on the screen reaches 0, please conclude your remarks promptly. For those who are joining us by telephone only, I will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When your number is called, press *6 to unmute yourself when prompted. Written testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. As a courtesy, please turn off all cell phones for the duration of the meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cordero.
Here.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Here.
Councilmember Kia Aina.
Here.
Councilmember Nishimoto. Councilmember Okimoto.
Present.
Councilmember Toba. Here. Councilmember Tupola.
AO.
Councilmember Wire.
Here.
Chair Waters.
Here.
9 members present, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Before we take the motion, I just wanted to say a few words. To the members and the members of the public, we do have a rule of decorum. It's Rule 20. But basically it says that we need to treat each other with respect and aloha. Reorganization is a difficult thing. It's stressful, it can be hurtful, but it's definitely emotional. You know, if you've been in politics long enough, you know that it's not going to be the first time this happens, and it definitely is not going to be the last time. So be careful what you say. Let's not be hurtful, because you might regret it later. And I can tell you from personal experience, you might not be friends today, but tomorrow there's still a chance. No matter what, let's keep working hard. The problems we face are immense. The cost of living, affordable housing, homelessness. We still have to site a new landfill. We need to get the rail done on time. But ultimately, it's not about titles. You don't need a title to get the work done. It's about the people we serve and the decisions that we make and how they impact people. We live in a really special place. It really is not about race, color, age, sex, religion, national origin, gender identity, gender expression, or sexual orientation. It really is about the people we serve. And among the greatest assets we have in Hawaii is our ethnic, cultural, and social diversity. Also, before we get in, I want to do a special shout out to Council Members Cordero and Wire. And thank you guys for stepping up. You guys stepped up during difficult times. I remember Councilmember Cordero being in this spot when hundreds of people were outside pounding the glass, kicking the door, broke the glass. People threatened your life, came to your house. I remember that. I knew Councilmember Wire, who helped me write the brief in Waters versus Nago, and the reason I'm sitting here today, and co-authored with me on Bill 40. Those things have not been lost on me, and I just want to say thank you to you guys. And hope that we can continue to work forward and work together, because I think that's what the people demand and need in this time. So, having said that, Councilmember Nishimoto, for the motion.
I move that Resolution 25-170 be adopted,
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Nishimoto for the explanation.
relating to officers of the Council of the City and County of Honolulu.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have registered testifiers?
Yes, sir. We have a list.
I believe we have a list of registered testifiers, starting with Dale Vanderbrink. Aloha, welcome. If you could just press the on button, there you go.
Hello.
Please proceed.
So, aloha, Chair Waters, Vice Chair Wires, and members of the City Council. My name is Dale Vanderbrink. I'm the member of the Ala Moana Kaka'ako Neighborhood Board, but this testimony is my personal one. I stand in strong opposition to Councilmember Nishimoto's current resolution 25-170. While Councilmember Nishimoto submitted this resolution, it is clear that Chair Waters is the one behind it. It needs to be said that this resolution is political revenge against members of this council who did not vote with him on the sewer fee bill. I will say this again because Council Chair will not. This is political revenge. Let's look at where this started, the sewer fee bill. Council members came up with the competing resolutions to the problem, debated them, and voted their conscience. Council Chair Waters lost that vote. I was proud of the work that this council did on the sewer fee vote. Council members here voted their conscience on that, and I really respect them for doing so. But members of this council should not fear political gamesmanship for doing what they're elected to do, which is vote their conscience. For those that support this resolution, just ask yourself here, how long until Chair Waters determines that it is in his best political interest to turn on you and remove you from your leadership roles? In Chair Waters' statement to the media, he said this is not about protecting titles, yet this resolution only protects his title. I support the current leadership under Vice Chair Wire, Floor Leader Kodora. Both have brought honesty, vision, and tangible results to this council. I encourage you all to not let this council become Chair Waters' political fiefdom. Please oppose the current resolution 25-170. Now in my remaining time, I want to address my own council member here, Councilmember Nishimoto. As a member of your district, I just have a simple request. Remember your constituency here, vote your conscience, and do not let any backroom political deals dictate your vote here. Thank you for hearing my testimony today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vanderbrink. Next, we have Michael Golohue Jr.
Good morning, good afternoon. Michael Goloyu Jr., he, him pronouns, and happy Pride Month, everybody. My testimony today is not going to be about the Councilmember Tupola's ties to the MAGA federal government that are stealing American citizens as we speak in their ICE raids. It's not going to be about her ties and her anti-vax stance that put so many people in danger during the pandemic. It's not going to be about her questionable ethic activities during that time period that the Ethics Commission came down on her for. I'm going to focus mainly on her current dealings with the ethics and apparently misguided views of how campaign spending works and the IRS when it looks at nonprofits, and the fact that she is using her formerly known as the Andrea Tupola Foundation social media as a pseudo campaign tool for herself, which goes directly in violation with IRS codes. But also, if you look at that page, you'll see that she has listed her taxpayer, tax-funded official email address to contact her there on. And that is deeply, deeply disturbing. That the question I put in my written testimony, and I hope that you've all had a chance to read that I hope you all have gotten put some inquiries into the Ethics Commission to make sure that this is taken up. Because I know I have. So when you get that call from the Ethics Commission, Councilmember Tupola, no, it was me that made that call. To put somebody in a leadership position who has shown time and time again that she does not adhere to the rule of law, does not follow ethics, does not follow the moral guidance that most people have when it comes to being in these honored positions, is greatly disturbing. That anybody, including Councilmember Nishimoto, when he brought forward this resolution to put her in higher power, I hope that he remembers that what she has done in the past and is currently doing as we sit here is violating the ethics code of this state as well as this county. So I encourage you all to vote no. This is what those 10,000 people asked you to do. We do not support MAGA here in Hawaii. It's very clear from the 10,000 people that showed up over the weekend, close to 18,000 people across this state, that we cannot allow leadership of this to be handed over to people that support the federal government under what it's currently doing, as we saw them tackle a US senator last week under the guise of the federal government. And this is what we are gonna get if you vote yes. So I encourage you all to vote no and protect this county. Mahalo.
Thank you. Next, we have Deborah King, followed by Nikos Laverens. Aloha.
Aloha, Council Chair Waters, Vice Council Wires, and council members. I am a resident. My name is Deborah King, and I'm a resident in Chinatown, and I am representing myself today. I have submitted testimony plus additional emails. I believe this is a conflict of interest because of Bill 18 and regarding plastics. I know that Councilmember Tupola has expressed her opposition to the passing of that bill. And for me, it's a personal issue because I lived in an environment in Italy. I was stationed as a dependent, and I was exposed to a lot of environmental toxins. And I have plastic poisoning, soil poisoning, different kinds of poisonings. So for me, you know, to increase and continue plastics in our in society I oppose that. And I know that Councilmember Wire, he is the chair on the Housing, Sustainability, Economy, and Health. And I have written to him and other council members about what I have to do because of plastics. And now I'm afraid that if I need medical treatment and I am unable to share with them I'm allergic to plastic, I might not wake up. So I have taken some steps to contact, you know, the EMS, my doctor, try to get a vial of life plus emergency on my phone. Plus now I have to have notes in my car, in my home, in my purse, on my phone, just to make sure that I don't get treatment with something that I may have a reaction to. So I just want to say in closing that I appreciate all the efforts of the council and their opposing views. However, I do believe that education in this case for plastic, it needs more. We need to have more resolutions or something, because whenever people are accustomed to plastic, we've seen our landfills, or we have this problem with our landfills, and it's not helping. So I support sustainability and reducing our carbon input. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kin. Please take care. Next, we have Nikos Laverenz.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and members. My name is Nikos Leverance, speaking on behalf of Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center, and we stand in opposition to Resolution 25-170. H3RC's mission is to reduce harm, promote health, create wellness, and fight stigma. We invite everybody here to the Honolulu AIDS Walk this Saturday. We're convening at 9 a.m. at the Kapiolani Park Bandstand. As an organization that is deeply committed to justice and equity, H3RC is troubled by the prospect of stripping Councilmember Wire of his position as Vice Chair during Pride Month. Pride Month began in 1970 to mark the Stonewall Uprising in New York City in 1969. Members of the trans and LGBTQ community demonstrated against ongoing raids of nightclubs by the New York City Police Department. Decades of criminalizing sexual and gender minorities, including harassment by law enforcement, perpetuated severe and lasting stigma. A criminal record for free association and fashion choices reflective of gender expression, forced outing, and heated political rhetoric precluded full participation in civic and economic life. This pernicious legacy of invidious discrimination against sexual and gender minorities was also present right here in Hawaii, which has subsequently amended its laws and policies to provide specific protections. Mayor Blangiardi, his executive team, and this council understand very well that representation matters. We commend the mayor and this council for its efforts last year to ensure that the city and county of Honolulu's non-discrimination policies cover any classification of persons protected by federal, state, or city laws. A reshuffling of leadership at this time over a single vote on an urgently needed and mandatory infrastructure improvement deters the kind of public service that dares to lead with independence and integrity. A reshuffling will also not sit well with residents of our city who have faced a less than equanimous exercise of government authority. Mahalo for the opportunity to provide testimony.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we have Roger Brandon Rodriguez, followed by Cameron Hurt.
Aloha, Chair Waters and council members. My name is Roger, and I'm here to oppose Resolution 25-170. Today, I want to speak not with outrage, you're going to hear plenty of that, but with empathy. If I were in Chair Waters' position, and I looked out at this room full of everyday people like me pushing back on this resolution, I might feel the weight of that. And I might be reminded why I chose public service, not to win every fight, but to help Hawaii's people, especially the underrepresented, people like me, a formerly homeless, gay, disabled veteran, who's also left-handed. I check a lot of boxes. If I were the chair, I might eventually say, this resolution was a misstep. I let the heat of disagreement steer me off course. I hear you, I'm choosing to do the right thing now and step back from this resolution. And that wouldn't be weakness. That would be courageous, and we would all applaud you for it. That's leadership rooted in community. And to Councilmember Nishimoto, who stands at a crucial junction here, I would say, this is a good opportunity for you to change course. You have the power to protect the trust that we have in you. Let today be a turning point, not just for this council, but for everyone watching, to everyone listening, to everyone following this vote. Withdraw the resolution or vote it down, either way. Let this be the moment where we choose integrity over retribution. And let your leadership be defined by humility, not hierarchy. Mahalo.
Thank you. Next, we have Cameron Hurt, followed by Lisa Ryan Gill.
All right. Oh, sweet. Good afternoon, Council. My name is Cameron Hurt. I am here as my capacity as Program Director of Common Cause Hawaii. We're going to give you guys a bit of a different testimony than what you've heard so far, because for what it's worth and for everybody's personal reasons, Common Cause isn't really interested in that. We're more so interested in the efficacy of the council, and it is for that reason that we do oppose Resolution 25-170. It's for the reason of this uncommon nature of this, for what it seems on its face, a reorganization of the council. From what we can see from our prior research, this is relatively within recent years unprecedented for it to happen in this nature in this way. The expeditious nature of this reorganization also gives us cause for pause, because to push this through without proper education, without proper framework to the community, you risk losing public trust. At Common Cause Hawaii, we know that actually the council and local councils hold the most public trust of any of our elected officials in the state. This resolution will upheed that. It's not that what you want to do that we have a problem with, as much so as the way that it is going about. There is a proper way to give time, to give education, and to give concurrence to the constituents to be able to weigh in on this fully. And if this is a representation body of the people of Honolulu, you should want all of that input. You should want to get your constituents to weigh in on this. At a time when throughout this nation and even through this state, we are begging for elected leaders that we can trust and believe in, I implored you not to erode the trust and goodwill that you guys have already built. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd. Next, we have Lisa Ryan Gill.
Aloha, Chair Waters, Vice Chair Wire. Thank you for having us here today. I wanted to come and testify in opposition to Resolution 25-170, and mostly because I wanted to speak to the qualities of the Vice Chair. I'm here on my personal accord, but I often am at County Council working on preventing youth vaping in our community, working with our youth to end the sale of flavored nicotine products, and also to protect the 18% of our population that is foreign born. I can say that on both accounts, Councilmember Wire, Vice Chair, has been an incredible advocate. He has helped us to pass ordinances at the county level to eliminate the sale of flavored nicotine products, a request that has come from our youth for over 8 years for somebody, anybody, at an elected level to hear them. This council passed that trigger ordinance. It's not yet in effect due to preemption, but we counted on and we're very thankful for the support of the Vice Chair. Additionally, the Vice Chair has also been an advocate for us as we were looking into the budget for community equity liaisons, trying to find positions in OER to make sure that all of our community members knew how the city worked and could access city services. The Vice Chair was always there with us, sitting in the meeting with the administrators, making sure that our voice was heard. And when we had a new election and a new federal administration coming in, the first call that I received that evening was from the Vice Chair. His question, how can I serve? How can I make sure that people are not afraid to call the police? How can I make sure that people are not afraid to call an ambulance? And we've worked together since that day, nearly several times a week with other council members from other counties to make sure that folks have access to services and that they know that they are seen and recognized in our city and county. So I just want to thank the Vice Chair for his service. It is seen, it is appreciated, and you will continue to have our support. Mahalo.
Thank you. Members, that's all I have for registered in-person testifiers. I'd like to now open it up to in-person unregistered testifiers. So if there is anybody in the audience who'd like to testify, now would be the time. From both sides of the room. Kumihina, I did not see you earlier. Aloha and welcome.
off. Read the sign. Mahalo. Aloha, my kako chair, esteemed council members. It pains me to come under the current circumstances to support a Kanaka to be elevated into a position of greater influence and authority. Why? Because a Kanaka I can look at across the table and I can hold them more accountable to the understandings of aloha and to the parameters of our culture as determined by our language and our way of life. And the city and county of Honolulu needs decision makers that can be leaned heavily into by community. And what I'm saying is that if someone like myself who is advocating for things in our community, I have to go easier on the non-Hawaiians, but I can go harder on Hawaiians. And I want to hold my fellow Kanaka to a higher level of standard and operation. And I trust that I can do it and that we can look at each other and have aloha for the times where we agree and the times we disagree. So my presence here is to support Councilmember Anje Tupola. She supported wholeheartedly my project Kupai Mahu. So on the merits of that level of understanding, I'm extremely thankful. Some of the greatest opposition to that project came from my own fellow Hawaiians. I respect both council members, DeSantos Tam, Wire, and I appreciate the work that you both do. And I trust that you will continue to do work that is important. Today, however, I came in support of Councilmember Tupola. My voice and my work is greatly supported by having more Kanaka in political power. And I'm being transparent about this. Because more Kanaka in political power means that people like me can hold Kanaka across the board, whether they're here at City Council or at the legislature or elsewhere. It means that I can look at them and hold them to that standard and that expectation of how Kanaka should make decisions. So with all due respect to everyone here, mahalo for taking my testimony. And aloha to all of you.
Thank you so much. Is there anybody else in the audience who'd like to testify? Ms. Burgess, aloha, welcome.
Aloha mai kākou, Ohono o Kau'i Burgess of Village Park, Waipahu. I am within the district of Councilmember Matt Wire. Aloha mai kākou, Chair Waters, and every member of the council. Aloha mai. I'm here to stand in strong support of Resolution 25-170. And honestly, I don't know the reasons why at this time leadership change is necessary, but what I do know is that you all need to be working together no matter what side of the political spectrum we all stand. We need to work together. And by the way, this is a nonpartisan body. May I remind some of us in the gallery. Am I excited about the leadership being proposed as being all Native Hawaiian? Absolutely, for the same reasons as Hina. I would be able to speak directly across the table, speak about what is best for our people, what is best for this Aina, what is best for Aloha, for those who are from here and for those who are not. I'm able to hold them accountable. It's a little different with others, but am I excited to have all Native Hawaiians within leadership? I am absolutely, because I know that they are committed to what is best for this land, the water that we drink, the soil that we plant in, the language that we speak, the children that we are raising. Okay, sorry, I gotta calm down. Anyway, I stand in strong support of this resolution 25170, and Councilmember Nishimoto, mahalo nui for introducing it. Mahalo for your insight, for your foresightedness, and for your willingness to work together, to work across the table. During a time that we live in right now that is so crazy, this is the time to stand up and work together. And I ask each of you to support this resolution at a time where we need it. Mahalo nui. Aloha.
Thank you, Ms. Burgess. Is there anybody else in the gallery who'd like to testify? Aloha. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Chair Waters and council members. My name is Sergio Alcubilla. I'm here in an individual capacity, and I'm here in opposition of this resolution. But I'm here to voice my support for Councilmember Wire, not because he looks good in a barong, but I do appreciate his support for the community. And I do agree that this is the time for us to stand together, to work together, to reach across the aisle. But I want to take this time just to show my appreciation for the council for standing with the most vulnerable in our community. You know, really the strength of this community is how we treat our most vulnerable, is how we treat our most weakest individuals. And there are times, you know, when we'll really need your help. You know, in the coming months and the coming years, things are gonna get worse. And I just ask you to continue to stand with us, stand with those that need help the most, and I know council member has done that. You know, things are gonna, you know, crap is gonna hit the fan, and it will. So I just ask, will you continue to stand with us then, if the federal government does ask that the city and county help us round up our neighbors, you know, round up our family members and our friends? That's when we're gonna need you the most. And I know Council Member Wire has done that numerous times, and I ask that you continue to stand with him now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify before I turn to the remote testifiers? Brendan Wolf, aloha and welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Brandon Wolf. I represent the ILWU. We are, just to give a little background of who I represent. We have about 18,000 members statewide, about a little over 5,000 are in the Honolulu County. And we are in strong support of this resolution for one simple reason: it's a democratic process. All of these, you know what, as a matter of fact, I think we endorsed almost everybody here. And we did that for a reason. You guys, just like what Auntie said, everybody needs to start working together. I hear a lot of talk about a lot of politics. This isn't the place for that. This is a nonpartisan governing body for a reason, because it's so divisive. The people are the primary concern here. Anyway, we got thousands of members that are in Honolulu County, and a lot of them actually are in Tupola's district. We had about, I want to say, almost 400 testimonials written in support of this, and I speak on behalf of them as well. They're not able to be here because they're working. And you know, this whole restructuring, I don't know the details of it, but I do know this: these guys are all elected. Let them do their job. Respect the democratic process. Just because you don't like how it turned out doesn't mean you can undermine it, right? If you have a problem with what's happening, get your people together, vote them in or out. Go through respect the process. We as a union, you know, I want to address, there's an email circulating, and this is another example of this going political. This is like, we shouldn't be talking about political parties just for that reason alone, so divisive. But there's an email that went out from the Democratic Party, I believe Labor Caucus, and it had a flyer of these council members saying they're anti-union and a bunch of other untruths. And I say that because I want to say I started with these guys when they first started running. Okimoto, Tupola, we've known Tommy for years, Kiaina, and they've been nothing but supportive of unions. So that's false right there. They're not anti-union. They're probably our biggest supporters. And I call them a lot. Every time I call, they're there. I got a bunch of guys behind me here too to vouch for that. The point is, there's all this talk about, you know, why we shouldn't go down this road. At the end of the day, it's not about your individual needs and wants. It's about the people. A lot of our local people are suffering every day. They don't have houses. They have a hard time. Can I finish?
Yes, please.
They have a hard time putting food on the table. They don't have a job. A lot of them reside in her district. We can relate to that. We need somebody that accurately represents us. And I think that's what they're getting at. We're happy about this. We don't want to see nobody go away, but this is their time. Give them their shot. Let them see if they got what it takes. And if it doesn't work out, put somebody else in there. But anyway, on behalf of the ILW Hawaii, we strongly support this resolution. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Members, I'd like to turn to the remote testifiers, and then I'll give people in the audience another opportunity to speak if they'd like to. So first up is Aria Juliet Castillo.
Aloha, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Mahalo. My name is Aria Juliet Castillo, and I'm offering testimony in strong opposition to Resolution 24-170. This resolution, which seeks to remove council members from leadership roles and switch out, appears to be what many of us see as a response to the recent vote on the sewer rate restructuring plan. While I understand this, alternative proposals were considered and Chair Waters supported the efforts to reduce the financial burden, which we appreciate, the council ultimately voted narrowly and after many deliberation for phase increases. This process, with all its degrees of disagreement and debate, is how democracy is supposed to function. Unfortunately, the timing and the rationale behind this resolution suggests it's not simply about reorganization. It gives the impression of political retaliation. This is deeply concerning. Dissent is not disloyalty, and our elected officials must be able to act upon principle without fearing retribution or removal. Otherwise, we're going to undermine the very foundation of public trust. Chair Waters, many in our community have admired your leadership. You supported sustainability, reimagining public safety beyond policing, and have approached housing with a nuance that's often missing in conversations. You've also demonstrated sound judgment in appointing council members Wire and Cordero, these leaders who served with humility, thoughtfulness, and clear commitment to their districts. This resolution calls that judgment into question with your support. I'm also deeply concerned about the proposed elevation of Councilmember Tupola. She has every right to represent her district and her views, and she has people that deeply admire her. Her history of aligning with far-right authoritarian-leaning politics, particularly those that marginalize LGBT individuals, immigrants, and working families, makes her an alarming choice for a leadership role at this time, when our civil rights are under threat across the country. Advancing this kind of leadership sends the wrong message, especially here in Hawaii, where inclusion and aloha should be more than just words. I understand this is a nonpartisan body, but I'm a Democrat for a reason, and so are you, Chair Waters, Councilmember Kiaina, Scott Nishimoto, as well as the other members in your district. As a constituent, I want to say we appreciate your service, but we cannot support this resolution. I urge you and all the members of this council to consider the broader implications, not just for the individuals, but for how we govern and the values that we uphold. Please vote no.
Thank you, Ms. Castillo. Next, we have Natalie Iwasa.
Thank you. Good morning or good afternoon, Chair Waters, Council members. Natalie Wassa for the record. It's been reported that this is retribution for the sewer vote, and given the timing of the resolution as well as discussion during the recess at the full council meeting on June 4th, that seems very plausible. Of course, the two that were out in the hall only know what they talked about, nobody else. But, retribution, retaliation has no place in our city council and is not acceptable behavior. Now, I just wanted to note that there are over 600 testimonies on this issue. And in 2021, when it came up, the same people, there was no testimony. 2023, there was one person. And in January of this year, no testimonies again. So I find this all very interesting. A lot of the testimony is passionate, just for these two positions. And so just a comment to everybody who submitted testimony, I think it would be great if this this much testimony were given at our more important issues such as the budget. Personally, I think that this particular issue is not as important as so many of the other things that come before the council. With respect to this allegation that this is retaliation or retribution, I would oppose the resolution. And I do want to thank the council members who voted in opposition for putting general funds to the sewer fees. That was just simply wrong. So thank you. Those are my comments, and I look forward to hearing the rest of the discussion.
Thank you, Ms. Iwasa. Next, we have Scarlett, Honolulu Gay Island Guide.
Mr. Chair, no one is logged on under that title or name.
Okay, thank you. Is Abby Simons available?
Hello?
Aloha, we can hear you. Please proceed.
Mahalo. Aloha, Chair Waters and council members. My name is Abby Simmons, and I'm here today as chair and on behalf of thousands of our Stonewall Caucus members who live right here in Honolulu County. I'm urging you to vote no on Councilmember Nishimoto's resolution 25-170, which would make Councilmember Tupola vice chair. Let me be clear, our leadership should earn the public's trust and not undermine it. Councilmember Tupola has used her official government email to campaign for herself to be elevated to vice chair, a serious ethical concern. If she's willing to blur the line between public duty and self-promotion, that should raise a red flag for all of us. Beyond that, our community is just deeply worried about what it means to have a Trump-aligned leader in this critical role. Councilmember Tupola has stayed silent while the Trump administration, which she has publicly praised in the past, pushes harmful policies that hurt the people in this county, such as ICE raids that terrorize immigrant families here in Honolulu, funding cuts that cripple local nonprofits and UH programs, the rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and attacks on LGBTQ rights, including the involuntary discharge of our transgender service members. On all these threats, she has said nothing, while county constituents continue to suffer. Leadership demands courage to stand up for all of us. Councilmember Tupola has not shown that courage. So today I ask you, protect the integrity of this council. Show our community that leadership in Honolulu will not be auctioned off to personal ambition or to MAGA politics. Please vote no on Resolution 25-170. And mahalo nui loa for your time and for listening to the voices of your LGBTQ neighbors and allies.
Thank you. Next, we have Karen O'Mahony.
Mr. Chair, the testifier is not logged on.
Okay. Next is Shannon Naihe or Naihe.
Mr. Chair, the testifier is also not logged on.
Okay. Ireneo Rabang.
This testifier is also not logged on, Chair.
Okay. Kika Bukowski.
Good afternoon, Chair, members. My name is Kika Bukowski, and I am testifying on my as an individual and in strong support of Resolution 25-170. I'm gonna try to keep this really short and focused on the resolution itself. But before I start my testimony, I just want to say, this isn't about. It shouldn't be about individual personalities or the capacity or capabilities of. I mean, I'm very familiar and I'm friends with every member on this council, and I have full faith that you folks are all capable of fulfilling your roles as council members and representing your districts. And I don't think personally, my support for this resolution isn't about my disagreement or lack of trust in any of the members that are currently serving. But my testimony and support is simply because the resolution itself it's a normal course of doing business. I think Chair Waters mentioned it in his opening statements that this isn't the first and it won't be the last. This is a normal course of business in the council, and it's a democratic process that allows any member of the council to put such a resolution forward at any time if they can gain majority support. It happened recently, and that's ironically how the vice chair, the current vice chair, came to have his position not too long ago. So this process is a democratic process. I want to echo the previous testimony of a previous testifier that this is not this is a nonpartisan body. We shouldn't be talking about politics in this forum. And one of the previous testifiers said aloha should be more than just words, and I completely agree. We shouldn't just speak aloha; we should practice it. And I think this resolution is actually putting those words to practice. I think it's a good thing to see that maybe here in Hawaii, maybe not nationally, maybe not in other parts of the country, two sides can get along, but maybe in Hawaii we can, because we practice aloha and we don't just speak it. We don't just talk about it, we practice it. So, I hope you guys can find a way to come together and mend your ways. And I'm not sure what the underlying reasons are, but I support the resolution. I have full confidence in the council, and I hope you guys can continue doing business as a council and working together for the betterment of the city and county of Honolulu. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Pikachu Shelby Billionaire.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Hey, Tommy, how are you guys? Everyone, how are you guys doing? The room is filled today. That's good to see all you guys there. I'm messing with this avatar. I'm rarely on Zoom, so hey, there you guys. Hey, I get to see all of you all personally. Wonderful. How are you? So normally we have the agenda and it's super filled. Today is only a one-time thing. And I talked to Andrea yesterday. You might have seen the stuff on the news about the whole thing with RISE. The residents don't want it at all. You saw the grandma, and she said she's ready to beef. Mahealani, KITV was there, but we caught it for hours here on the live stream footage. So whoever's going to be vice chair, floor leader, we, the people, usually don't have that much power. Every time I complain about the poop, the sewage, the $5 billion budget, no matter what we oppose, you always say yes. So I want to encourage everyone who's out there in that testimony, who said their testimonies, but there's already a decision made when they print it in black and white and the agenda comes to them. And so they're already going to make this move. We as the people have a hard time to convince them to change their hearts, change their minds, because it's already in black and white. Like some of the testifier says with the union, if they can back up the union and the stuff coming through, then we should go with the numbers and give them a shot. Because if you look at the war nationally and federally, Donald Trump, he's an idiot trying to fight a war with Israel to go bomb Iran. That's the most dumbest thing I've ever heard. If you know Kianusai, HawaiianKingdom.org, Netanyahu sent the U.S. troops when I was in the Air Force, year 2000, we all went to war. They went to Iraq to bomb Saddam Hussein with nuclear weapons, with no nuclear weapons. So if they do something and they do attack, China will hit Taiwan while we're in the Middle East and we can't fight this two-front war system. We're going to need supplies to come in the stevedores, the unions, the carpenters, resources so we can learn how to build our own hale, our own homes. We live on an island, for God's sakes. Maui, you can start with container homes. You can do a lot of things to be creative. You got $5 billion in the budget. You got murder, death, kills rampant in Kalihi. You got multiple gangs. The judges are corrupt. We got murder, death, kills in Makaha. Now they got that stupid bill from the state legislature, not you guys, HP 103. So if you bust anyone 20 and under like the 20-year-old who shot the 9-year-old, we can't prosecute them. This doesn't make any sense with the state city council. So it doesn't matter who's the floor leader, vice leader, chair, all that stuff still went down under your watch. So you still have to work together to try to help the people to get stuff done. Because I'm from Waianae, I do have to support, obviously, the people from Waianae. She went to Samoa with Esther, the last budget meeting. When I was there, I was the only person from Waianae, Mother of the Year in Puerto Rico. I heard what other people from the Pride say with the foundations. I'm not the guy who's going to be money laundering and cleaning that stuff, but obviously you guys can check it on Eco Cuba, and you guys are going to make decisions, meaning the council members out there. Shout out to Augie T, yeah, you cuz, and everybody else. Love you guys, Matt and Radiant. It's a tough job. Even I don't like it. And that's why I stayed home today. So shout out to all of you. I know you guys will make your own decisions. And shout out to all the testifiers with your support and honesty. Chihu from Pikachu. Aloha.
Thank you. Next, we have Edison De Paula.
Mr. Chair, the testifier is not logged on.
Thank you. June James.
Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been said that this proposed leadership change is related to Bill 60, the sewer bills increases and the various attempts to massage yet another increased cost of living for Oahu. The budget has increased every year and we keep tax and spend. Everything has gone up. We have problems with homeless, we have problems with housing, we have problems with registration fees. We have problems with all sorts of rising costs of living. So whatever the motives may be for today's changes, I just want to take this opportunity again to register my severe concern that there was inefficient advocacy in putting our residents first when Bill 60, the sewer fees increase, was adopted. I was unable to remain all day on June 4th to testify on Bill 60, but even then it was going to pass anyways, with or without our public testimony. For this sewer fee increase, Oahu was so fortunate to have local professionals like Mr. Frank Doi, who had been working with the city sanitation departments since 1977. And Mr. Frank Lloyd, institutional knowledge and frontline workings of the city sanitation issues, including the EPA consent decree, where the city was spilling raw sewage into the Alawai Canal. Then Mufi Hanneman and Senator Inoue resisted the EPA efforts to mitigate the environmental contamination. And that is why the city was slapped with an EPA lawsuit and a consent decree. But what is really concerning to me is that although Mr. Doi included a very compelling written testimony to Bill 60 was ignored. I am enclosing that in my written testimony. I think it's around 203, page 203. His professional group, 200 years of combined water quality management experience from scientific, engineering, operating, and so on and so forth. Everything was ignored. Their overarching and cost-saving directions, including revisiting the EPA consent decree that would make life easier for our people, for our residents, was ignored. So I encourage those of you who are concerned about a rising cost of living to go back and look at this testimony. They could have really helped Frank Doi and listened to him, but they did not. The Blangetti administration, city council status quo, just simply spend and push more 2.5 billion, I think to a total about
Thank you,
10
Ms.
point something
James.
billion now, with the adoption of Bill 60 on June 4th, 2025. That is the crux of my problem
Thank you.
with that issue. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we have Dylan Armstrong.
Aloha, Chair Waters. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Aloha, mai kako, everyone. It's been a while, crazy few years, and what a ride we've been on in many ways. I think one of the things that it behooves me to ask is, how did we get to this point? You, council members, are here to serve the interests of working people. That includes, as other testifiers have indicated, the LGBTQIA members of the community in Honolulu, all sorts of working families, people with disabilities, immigrants, as I think has been previously referred to. But this particular motion seems to have come about in response to a raise in sewer fees. And the group that won was not the group that was on the side of the taxpayer, of the ratepayer, of the citizen. Now, not all of you know me, but those of you who do know me know I am a remarkably consistent person. I'm a friend to people because my friendship comes without cost, and my loyalty means I say the truth and I stick to the same principles. And I opposed the pay raises several years ago early, and I led opposition to it because I disagreed with Aloha with that decision, not with enmity and not out of opportunism. There is a very legitimate concern that's been raised in this discussion, though I am in support of the measure, as to the well-being and the rights of people who have been historically oppressed, including LGBTQIA and Kanaka. I never support a candidate because they are Kanaka or LGBTQIA. I support them because they will help people who need help. That is how I believe in being. I have been a protester ever since the Iraq War, not because it benefited me. The hypocrisy on display is remarkable because some of the same people who are trying to lecture me and others were not there for me when I needed them, and I mean that personally, and they're not going to be there for any of you. They're themselves former Republicans who became Democrats when it became convenient for them, or when they found that their own personal rights were at odds with what they believed. Now, I am not like that, and that's why I raise an issue today, which is, as long as the council majority will be bipartisan and in favor of human rights, I have no concern going forward. And I respect all of you as council members for committing to public service. What I will ask you to commit to, whether you are personally opposed to LGBTQIA rights or you are in favor, as Chair Waters is that you commit as a group to not rescinding or revoking one iota of rights for those who have very rightfully earned them, which I supported protesting when no local guy I knew would be caught dead sign waving with me in 2013. So I speak with aloha for all of you, and I challenge you to do right by the legitimate concerns here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dylan. Next, Raquel Achu.
Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
So much. Appreciate it. Aloha, everyone. I'll try to make this quickly. I just took a chance that I'd get on here. Originally, I'm sorry, Raquel Achu, North Shore. Originally, I was just going to provide comment, but I have to very respectfully oppose this resolution for a variety of reasons. But briefly, I'm in full respect and appreciation for each and every one of you on council. I understand and appreciate the work and every single one of you provide a unique and very critical position for your communities. And that does not go unnoticed, whether you're in my district or not. But I have to stand up for my district and Council Member Wire, and how much we appreciate that he takes a stand for us, he hears us, and he engages with us very consistently. And I'm not aware of anything that truly warrants a removal or a shift. And I'm excuse my ignorance if that is in play, but I have always said how encouraged I am by City Council and the engagements and the inclusiveness that you all have with us. And I don't want anything to cloud that. So I would truly hope that, you know, being that I don't see anything that has been a violation or warrants such a move, I hope that we can move forward with the integrity and the genuine guidance of your communities that you work for and that you put out for. And I think unity really needs to take precedence and take, not precedence, I'm sorry, priority over anything else. And I am beyond grateful that you're all willing to take your positions for your communities as strongly as Councilmember Wire and other members do. I just want to note that I'm concerned because I don't want there to be a cloud over council. It is the one body of government that I have a lot of trust in, and I have to keep that trust and that faith going, because you can't deny that this is a really not a great look. It causes a lot of speculation, and I would rather you guys be able to function without that. So with that, I'm again very respectfully appreciative of everyone and the work that you do, and I hope we can move forward in the most positive and constructive light. And I appreciate the time. So mahalo.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, I do believe we have 2 more hands raised.
Yes, Chair. We have a telephone caller with last 3 digits of the telephone number 175.
Okay, please proceed.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Tim Gary, please proceed.
Yes, Tim Gary. I strongly support this resolution. It's good to shake up the team every once in a while. I don't think it's personal, and I've been going to city council meetings for decades, and maybe it's just my ignorance, but I don't even understand what the vice chair and the floor leader do, except if the chair is not able to attend the meeting. Maybe put everybody's name in a hat if Tommy can't show up, and pick somebody out of the hat to be vice chair. And last time I looked, Matt Wire and Radiant are still going to be city council members. They're still going to have a vote. So all these people that are conflating all their personal issues into this, it's just a little bit too inconvenient. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any other remote testifiers?
Yes, Chair. We have a person named Robbie Baldwin.
Okay, please proceed.
Hi, Robbie Baldwin, Scarlet Honolulu, oppose resolution 25-170. I truly can't believe we are here today. In the age of Trumpism, where vulnerable communities are under attack, this body is voting to defrock a gay man and elevate the hateful rhetoric of the right during Pride Month. Also unbelievable is that this is being entertained by the chair, who has bucked his own party and principles to consolidate power and quell dissent. There was another political leader who used these same tactics. His name was Scott Seitke. But now I guess we can get you all on the record on where you stand in the most divisive political climate this nation has ever seen. Are you all truly allies to the LGBT community, or do you all just show up to flag raisings and pride to get pictures for your Instagram, to project a message of disingenuous inclusivity? Today is the test. Our community is watching today and keeping track of this vote, and we will not forget. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. I believe there's one more hand raised. Kapua.
Aloha.
Aloha, please
Aloha
proceed.
o wau. Kapua kili I kua kamai. Ka taina ho o pula pula ka awa wau e nai mai au. Mamake au kako o. resolution 25170, changing the positions of your vice and your board. I, if I recollect right, the city council is a nonpartisan entity. You folks are there to support your constituents. And sometimes we don't always agree with our constituents. But just because we have a disagreement doesn't mean that we're going to toss you out. So what I've heard, as far as this being a retribution for previous bills, there have been many controversial bills, and even when we disagree with that council person or with that representative or senator, whoever that elected official is, it's for us to converse with them and to let them know how we supported them or how we opposed them and how we would appreciate their reasoning for it. Because I submit that I'm just a regular Kanaka out here in Waianae, and I know that my elected officials are privy to more information than I could ever think of, and they make the best decisions for us, even those that I disagree with. So I'm here for this resolution. I support the resolution, and I thank you all for your service. Mahalo nui. Aloha.
Aloha, thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify? Please come forward.
See, I was paying attention, yeah. Push the button. Aloha, my name is Kalani Werner, and I rise as an individual to give comments. But my position I hold in my work doesn't allow me to speak as an individual. I am the leader of the United Public Workers, over 13,000 blue-collar workers. I'm here because the comments I want to provide is, this is Hawaii. Born and raised as a Democrat, I know there's no such thing in Hawaii as a nonpartisan. Everybody in your family knows how you vote. Everybody calls each other out. But that doesn't stop us from still doing the work we do. My members I represent are split. Half of them support Trump, the other don't. And I have to walk that fine line. Same as you individuals here today. I commend each and every one of you the work you have done so far this year. And you guys continue to work. Whatever position you might hold as vice chair, floor leader, whatever you might do, those are just points on a Scrabble board. Because in the end, your vote here is what matters. Brother Matt, all the work you've done for us, I congratulate you. And I'm still going to be there standing with you. However this vote occurs and comes out, all I ask is you continue to do that work. Sis, I challenge you to make sure if you end up in the spot, that you uphold the position that Matt has done. Whatever comes out, that's just what it is. Brother said earlier, it is a process that's involved, which is correct. And if we don't like it, we change the process as we move forward. That's the beautiful thing about living in America. We the people by the people. But this is interesting how this is playing out and the comments being provided and so forth. I was a Democratic National Convention along with Brother Mike. We represented us in Chicago very well. But I do believe in a system that you have to have different voices. I do believe you cannot have everybody sitting there going rah-rah after one person. You have to have different opinions to be able to move forward. My own board, my president, second in charge, I'm a diehard Republican. But we still get things done. So like I said, thank you for the work you have done, for the work you're going to do, and just continue what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify? Seeing none, members, we are in discussion. Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you. Mahalo, Chair, and aloha and mahalo to you and our fellow colleagues. I want to thank those who came on and testified both in person and online. And this resolution is about more than just titles. It is about how we, as a legislative body, respond to the diverse needs of our communities. Honolulu continues to face urgent and complex challenges, from the rising cost of living to the mounting pressures on our aging infrastructure, to the growing impacts of coastal erosion. These are not issues that will resolve themselves, and they don't come with partisan labels. Addressing them requires strong, collaborative leadership that proves clear direction, brings balance to the council, and reflects the full range of voices and communities across our city. What is disappointing, frankly, what is disheartening, is how this conversation has been framed in some circles as partisan. This council is a nonpartisan body. Each of us ran under that banner for good reason, because the work of local government is not about left or right. It's about results. It's about making sure our streets are safe, our infrastructure is sound, and our residents can afford to live in the communities that we all love. To see national level divisions imposed on this chamber is not only inappropriate, it's dangerous. The proposed reorganization includes seasoned, thoughtful leaders, each bringing years of legislative experience, a strong commitment to public service, and diverse perspectives that reflect the complexity of the challenges before us. Our intent is to create a balanced leadership that can help guide this council through difficult decisions with decorum, focus, and integrity. I feel it is also important to make note that the chair and I have had many disagreements on measures, including the sewer fees. And that's the beauty of democracy. To disagree in an honest and respectful manner, yet still come together on what is overall best for the communities that we represent. Leadership must evolve with the needs of the people we serve. We believe this new structure strengthens our institution and better positions us to deliver the responsive, effective governance our constituents deserve. I want to thank my colleague, Councilmember Nishimoto, for co-introducing this measure, and thank all of you for your continued dedication to this body and to the people of Honolulu. Mahalo, Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. First off, thank you everyone for your interest in the council. We do hope that you continue to take interest and come to the council on the most important matters for our county. I do support this resolution. You know, this is a leadership that is not new to the council. I do support that we are not censoring me, myself, or Councilmember Wire. This is a democratic process that has received a majority, and we are seated here because all of us became lawmakers through democracy in action. Every bill before us that we vote on, whether or not we support the piece of legislation or not, or has gone through numerous amendments or not, goes through the democratic process, and that's democracy in action. This reorganization in itself received a majority and is what you see is democracy in action. And I just only hope to continue this democratic process and supporting this democracy in action. And with that, I'm in support of this resolution. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilmember Dos Santos Town.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate your comments earlier that the problems we face as a city are truly immense, and it is about the people that we serve. You know, we today, I think, have gone through and heard a lot of testimony. I think it's come with a lot of drama and a lot of spectacle. And frankly, this is not what we need given the magnitude of issues that we face. And we need to be moving forward as a council, not only in this aloha way that we all, you know, seem to be talking about and trying to arrive at consensus, but we actually need to take action. The problems we face are indeed immense. We face a generation-long housing shortage. We need to actually invest in our infrastructure, which we had a very lengthy discussion about, culminating on June 4th. We also have over 400 vacancies at HPD. homeless issues that have plagued us for decades and are still unresolved. The list goes on and on and on. You know, at the beginning of the budget process this year, I talked about there being a storm on the horizon. We don't know how federal cuts, how other programs, how the issues, and many of the testifiers are brought up today, are going to affect our residents here, but we know that this storm is on the horizon. In the quote-unquote big beautiful bill, H.R. 1, that was just passed by the U.S. House of Representatives, is going to the U.S. Senate. Federal funding for mass transit, which we depend on for our bus system, is on the chopping block. When it comes to our housing, programs like Section 8, CDBG are on the chopping block. Programs that also we use to do innovative things, like the municipal and private activity bonds that we've utilized and deployed to put out housing, that may change. The list goes on and on and on. And so with this new organization here at the council, I think the challenge is that we actually need to be delivering for the people and actually need to be making a difference. And so here we are on June 17th, and I think the measurement for the progress that we're gonna make, I think the public should continue to hold every single one of us accountable for what we are doing to solve these problems, what each of us individually is doing to solve the problems, what all of us collectively are doing to solve these problems. And so on July 17th, a month from now, on September 17th, 3 months from now, on December 17th, 6 months from now, I hope everyone who has testified on this resolution, whether for or against, is going to look back and say, have we faced these problems head on? Have we actually made a difference on these things? And if so, good. And if so, then we can pat ourselves in the back and say, well, this was all worth it. But if we haven't, then I think that we should look back and folks should speak up and use that voice, especially if people in the community are going to be hurt by this storm that is on the horizon. We don't know if it's going to be a Category 5 storm or just a little tropical breeze, but we need to be mindful of that and hold that as our zenith, hold that as our goal. And I think that that is something that is very important and is on my heart today. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Tolba.
Thank you, Chair. Mahalo to everyone that testified today, everyone in the chamber. You know, leadership takes courage. I think Ms. Abby said that, and it's not easy. I know 5 years ago when I decided to run for office, I just wanted to understand what I can do to really help my community. But I do think the public deserves clarity. And if this leadership shakeup is a retaliation for the sewer fee vote, then that needs to be said clearly. People are watching and wondering what's going on. That said, the reality in Hawaii politics is that leaders often need to consolidate power just to move things forward. And by the look of this resolution, the majority has already lined up behind this change. If I vote no, we're stuck in a leadership team that's already fractured. And at the end of the day, it's not going to move nothing forward. So my vote with reservations reflects my hope for us today that we can move past the personal agendas, internal politics, and get back to hard, honest work for our communities and what they deserve. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Councilmember Wire.
Thank you, Chair. And I've, want to mahalo everyone that came out today to testify on both sides. I have a great deal of respect in having not asked anyone to testify on this measure. It was so wonderful to hear all the different perspectives and values and priorities. And I have a great deal of respect for all of our colleagues as well. I think that all of us are well-intentioned and looking out for the best interests of our community as we see it. And so I look forward to working with our colleagues on, housing our residents, keeping all of our families safe, and just creating a more resilient and sustainable future. And just want to note that I pray and know that it's possible and don't expect less, that we collectively remember, the testimony today, because this is a nonpartisan body, and I think we've been able to work so collaboratively, right? I think that I'm going to continue to vote my conscience regardless, but I hope that we remember the people that are affected by the decisions that go on. You know, we're not called to lead partisan objectives, of course, but the impacts and the changes ahead are really going to affect people in a very real way. And it already is. And it's happening right now. And the folks testifying today are out doing that work in the community at the ground level. And so I know we're going to keep our eyes on that as a body, and I hope that we can prioritize that because that is nonpartisan, protecting every single resident on Oahu. So mahalo, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Kia Aina.
Thank you, Chair Waters. Leadership change is an inevitable part of any legislative body, including this City Council. Indeed, since I started on the City Council, there have already been 2 leadership changes which impacted both myself and Councilmember Tupola. The first time was when Councilmember Tupola was replaced as floor leader by Councilmember Cordero in 2023, and the second time was when I was replaced by Councilmember Wire as vice chair in January of this year. I did not publicly challenge these decisions. I may not have agreed with the changes, but I never assumed it was based on political party, gender, age, race, or other affiliations. When I was replaced as vice chair, my supporters and I did not allege that the replacement of a Native Hawaiian older woman by a younger white male had anything to do with race, gender, age, or sexual orientation. It was the decision that the body made at the time, what the majority of the members thought was appropriate. Council members Nishimoto and Okimoto have proposed a new leadership structure, which is on the agenda today. Mahalo to both of you for your belief in me. I will respect whatever decision is made by the council today. At the end of the day, I will continue to work with all of my colleagues to further the interests of my constituents and all the people of Oahu, as I have done since I became a council member, whether I was in leadership or not. And honestly, it is what I have always done. While being a council member is the first time I have served as an elected official, I worked in another legislative body, the U.S. Congress, for nearly 2 decades. And I helped U.S. senators and U.S. congressional members work across partisan lines to pass important legislation for the benefit of the people of Hawaii and other communities across the country. There were constant shifts in leadership in the White House and the U.S. Congress. That is our political system. Today, we see more divisiveness than ever in Washington, D.C., and across the country. We need to be better than that in Hawaii, and we need to be better than that at the Honolulu City Council, which is by nature nonpartisan. I'm very disappointed by what I have seen online since the new leadership proposal was made. I've seen posts, emails, and testimonies by groups attacking my colleagues and our team and suggesting that this proposal somehow has something to do with LGBTQ issues or partisan representation. I pride myself on my strong support for the LGBTQ community and marginalized communities over my lifetime. And I've used my position on this council to further policies that support our LGBT community and increase representation on boards and commission, including at the Liquor Commission, whose chair is from the LGBTQ community. My colleagues have supported these policies. Honestly, to suggest this leadership proposal has anything to do with targeting someone that identifies as LGBTQ is offensive. If the majority of the council members support Council members Nishimoto and Okimoto's proposal today, it will result in an all-Native Hawaiian leadership team. It would result in 2 Native Hawaiian women in leadership positions. Moreover, this team brings to the table substantial professional and personal experiences that stand on its own and that need little explanation. As we navigate the harsh realities and complexities of what we are facing in Washington, D.C., we have to remember we are not immune from the divisiveness here in Hawaii, And we are already seeing the repercussions of that divisiveness across the state and in the city. And we need to be better than that at the City Council. I respectfully ask my colleagues to support Resolution 25-170. Mahalo.
Thank you. Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to offer a few thoughts on this resolution. There are a lot of things said about me. And I think as a leader, it's so good for me to hear it. I need to hear both sides of everything. It's important as a leader that I don't live in a silo, that I understand people's perspectives. I remember when I came out of the State House and I ran for council, there were no unions that wanted anything to do with me. ILWU gave me a shot. I was shocked. I was shocked that they would stand by me, because no unions would do that for me. And then little by little, certain unions gave me a shot. They treated me like I was a person, like I was worth spending time with and getting to know. And I thank those unions for allowing me to be who I am and accepting me for what I try to do, which is love my community. As mentioned, I was replaced as a floor leader. And I respect Councilmember Cordero, and actually I've learned a lot from her. She has so much institutional knowledge. This girl, she's been here for a while. She's so insightful. I remember being confused when it happened. And then I remember telling myself right away, Andrew, put your head down and go to work. Don't cry for yourself. You didn't get good committees, who cares? You show up at all the committees, you make comments, you come prepared, you do your work. Through it all, I've learned that leadership is about showing up, doing the work, and knowing when to step forward and sometimes when to step back so other people can lead. That balance is what allows us to function as a team, even when we don't agree. We will find common ground, and that's the space that I try to operate in. Work together when you can, work alone when you have to. Even when it's difficult or imperfect, it's still worth showing up for. I commit to Mr. Armstrong, all of the people that are sitting here, and to my colleagues in this room, that I will continue to support diverse voices that make up our communities, including the LGBTQIA+ community. I remain committed to collaborating with this council because that's the only way we move forward. I've appreciated Councilmember Dos Santos' time. He's championed bills with me that are getting signed into law this week. I've appreciated the work that we've done together. I've appreciated the work I've done with Councilmember Wire in championing the local taxi industry. These are only a few issues we've worked on, and I'm sure we'll work on many more together. I support local families, our unions, the dignity of work because it gives people purpose and belonging. I've worked closely with public workers, first responders, advocates to secure better resources, better, safer conditions, stronger communities. We may not always take the same path, but we often share the same goal, and that's where I'm going to keep my focus. At the end of the day, my priorities are clear: public safety, affordable housing, addressing homelessness, maintaining our infrastructure, and keeping our parks and neighborhoods safe. I thank my district for trusting me. First as their State House representative, and now for the past 5 years as a city council member on the West Side. But my work has always extended beyond my district lines. I gave hours and hours and hours of my time getting together with the agricultural community, trying to propose amendments for the land use ordinance so we could stand up for our farmers, for our ranchers. I've also put tons of time into helping high-rises install infrastructure for fire sprinklers when I was the chair of public infrastructure and technology. I'm currently working to convene a task force to address the vacancies in HPD, which is going to help all of our districts, not just my district. Councilmember Waters and I haven't always agreed, but that's what strengthens our leadership team. Hard conversations lead to better ideas and more open-minded solutions. I also want to acknowledge and uplift some of his comments that he wrote to some of the attacks and criticism that we received. He said, every council member has equal power and voting rights. I've seen that to be true. Even without a vote on zoning or budget, I've been able to participate, ask questions, submit committee drafts. He also said, we are unwavering in our commitment to creating an inclusive environment where every voice is not just heard, but valued and respected. Ka ko'oau I kona mana'o. I support those thoughts. Ame ho'ohuli kalima ilalo. The phrase in Hawaii means put your hands down and do the work. And I suggest that that's the way we move forward. Turn our hands down, get to work. I look forward to doing meaningful work with Chair Waters, Floor Leader Ke'aina, addressing wastewater fees, eliminating landfills, launching the Ocean Safety Commission, reviving Agricultural Commission, and doing everything we can to lower the cost of living for our residents. My commitment to the people I serve hasn't changed, and it won't. I respect every person who testified today, and every one of my colleagues sitting to my left in this chamber. I thank you for the opportunity to serve alongside you. Mahalo.
Thank you. And thank all of you for your speeches today. And I think we're all in agreement as far as what everybody said was from the heart. Having said that, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam?
Reservations.
Councilmember Ke'aina?
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto? Councilmember Okimoto?
Aye.
Councilmember Talba?
Reservations?
Councilmember Tupola?
Aye.
Councilmember Wire?
Reservations.
Chair Waters?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. Resolution 25-170 has been adopted. Members, there are no items of the Committee of the Whole or executive session. Vice Chair Tupola, motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn this committee.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any objections? Seeing none, the council stands adjourned until Wednesday, July 9th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Thank you, members.